Most people think swollen ankles or sudden leg cramps are just part of aging, but here's a fact that stops me cold. Blood clots kill more people every year than breast cancer, prostate cancer, and car accidents combined. And the warning signs? They're often brushed off as harmless aches, fatigue, or just poor circulation. I'm Dr. Howard Tucker, a longevity doctor with decades of experience helping seniors live stronger, longer lives. And today, we're pulling back the curtain on one of the most silent yet preventable threats to senior health: blood clots. Sitting across from me is a physician whose century of practice has reshaped how we think about aging. He's treated patients through wars, famines, and medical revolutions. A man still lecturing, still healing, and still reminding us that age is not the enemy. Please welcome Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara, Japanese physician and longevity expert.
Thank you, Howard. Blood clots are one of those dangers that speak softly before they strike loudly. Most seniors miss the signals because they look like ordinary fatigue, swelling, or shortness of breath. But if you learn how to read them, you can protect yourself long before danger arrives.
Dr. Hinohara, let's get right to it. Seniors hear the phrase blood clot and imagine sudden emergencies, but you're saying the body whispers before it shouts. What are those whispers?
Exactly, Howard. The body always sends signals. The problem is we dismiss them as aging. Take swelling in just one leg, for example. Many think it's arthritis or a long day of standing, but that swelling, especially if it's warm or tender to the touch, is one of the clearest early signs of a clot forming in the deep veins.
So not just tired legs, but a red flag.
Yes, a blood clot blocks the flow of blood back to the heart. The leg swells, it feels heavier, and sometimes there's a dull ache that doesn't match your activity. Studies from the Journal of Thrombosis and Hemostasis show that in seniors, this kind of swelling is misdiagnosed nearly % of the time as simple edema or water retention. But the risk of missing it is serious because that clot can travel to the lungs.
That's the terrifying part. What begins as a swollen calf could end as a life-threatening pulmonary embolism.
Exactly. Another silent sign is skin color change. When blood isn't flowing, the skin may look reddish or even bluish. I had a patient in Tokyo who thought the purple tint in his ankle was just bruising from bumping furniture. But ultrasound revealed a clot that could have been fatal if ignored.
And what about pain? Many seniors assume leg pain is from joints or muscles.
That's true. But clot pain is different. It often feels like a deep cramp or a Charlie horse that won't go away. What's striking is that it doesn't improve with massage or stretching. In fact, moving sometimes makes it worse. That persistence is a clue.
Interesting. And beyond the legs?
The lungs give their own signals when a clot escapes upward. Shortness of breath that comes suddenly. Not after running, but while sitting quietly, can be the only warning. Some feel a sharp chest pain that worsens when they take a deep breath. The American Heart Association has shown that seniors often wait days thinking it's indigestion or fatigue before seeking help. That delay can be deadly.
So the common thread here is subtlety. These aren't dramatic Hollywood symptoms. They're quiet, almost ordinary.
Yes, and that's why education matters. Seniors should know that sudden swelling, unexplained pain, skin color changes, or breathlessness deserve attention. Not panic, but attention. When caught early, clots are treatable. Anticoagulant therapies today are safer and more precise than ever.
I like that you frame this as empowerment, not fear.
always. Longevity is not about avoiding every danger. It's about learning to listen. Think of these symptoms as the body's polite knock at the door. If you answer, you can prevent the storm. If you ignore it, the knock becomes a crash.
That's powerful. And I imagine lifestyle plays a role here too. How long we sit, how hydrated we are, even how we move each day.
Absolutely. Clots are not random. They form more often in bodies that are still for long hours, in those who forget to drink water, or who recover from surgery without gentle movement. But when seniors know the signs and the causes, they hold the key. It is not about waiting for disaster. It is about staying curious about your body every single day.
Dr. Hinohara, you've made it clear the signals are there, if we know how to read them. But here's the question so many seniors have: why does clotting risk rise so much with age? What changes in the body?
Howard, the first change is in the blood itself. As we age, the balance between clotting and thinning shifts. The body naturally produces more clotting factors. In fact, research in the Journal of Gerontology shows fibrinogen levels, one of the main clotting proteins, rise steadily after age 60. That means the blood becomes thicker, more eager to clot, even when there's no injury.
So the very same defense that stops us from bleeding becomes a liability later in life.
Exactly. The second change is in the veins. With age, the walls of our veins lose elasticity. The valves inside them, which keep blood flowing upward, weaken. Imagine a staircase with broken railings. Blood starts pooling in the legs instead of climbing smoothly back to the heart. That stagnant blood is fertile ground for clots.
And when seniors spend long hours sitting, watching TV, traveling, or even recovering after surgery, that pooling only worsens.
Yes, this is why long flights or hospital stays are notorious triggers for clots. A 2021 NIH review found that seniors over 70 were nearly 4 times more likely to develop deep vein thrombosis after extended immobility compared to younger adults. It's not just age, it's age combined with stillness.
That makes sense. Now, what about medications? Many seniors are on blood pressure pills, diabetes treatments, even hormone therapies. Do these increase risk?
They can. Some medications alter the way platelets stick together. Others, like hormone replacement or certain cancer drugs, directly raise clotting risk. Even common diuretics, which reduce swelling, can cause dehydration if water intake isn't balanced. And dehydration thickens the blood, again tipping the scale toward clots.
So it's a perfect storm. Aging blood, weaker veins, more stillness, and medications layered on top.
Yes, but let me add something important. Not every senior is doomed to clots. In fact, Japanese studies on active elders show that those who maintain light daily movement, gardening, slow walking, even calf flexes while seated, cut their clot risk dramatically. Lifestyle can counter biology.
That's encouraging. I think many listeners might feel trapped when they hear statistics about age. But what you're saying is, biology sets the stage, but daily habits decide the script.
Exactly. And that's the message I want seniors to hear. You are not powerless. Yes, your veins are older, your blood is thicker, but your choices still matter. Movement, hydration, and awareness are powerful medicine.
I love that perspective, because the danger isn't just the clot, it's the myth that seniors have no control.
That myth is more deadly than the clots themselves. When people believe decline is inevitable, they stop paying attention. They ignore swelling, brush off cramps, and that's when danger wins.
So Section 1 showed us the signals. Section 2 has shown us the science behind the risk. Now I'd like to ask, what practical daily steps can seniors take to lower that risk without feeling chained to medication?
Yes, Howard, that's the most important part. How to live in a way that keeps blood moving safely. And it begins with simple, repeatable actions anyone can do.
Dr. Hinohara, you've shown us the danger and the science. Now let's get practical. What can seniors actually do each day to lower their risk of clots?
The first habit is movement. It doesn't have to be exercise in the gym. Just 5 minutes of gentle calf pumping while sitting can wake up circulation. Remember, the calves are the body's second heart. Every squeeze of those muscles pushes blood upward, preventing it from pooling. In Japan, I taught patients to do this while watching television. No special equipment, just rhythm.
That sounds almost too easy. People think prevention must be complicated.
But the science supports it. A study in the Journal of Geriatric Cardiology showed seniors who did calf flexes twice a day reduced swelling and improved circulation within 3 weeks. Small actions, repeated, change outcomes.
All right, so movement is key. What else?
Hydration. Blood is nearly half water. When seniors don't drink enough, blood thickens like syrup and clots form more easily. The problem is, older adults often lose their sense of thirst. So I tell them, don't wait until you feel thirsty. Sip water throughout the day, especially with meals and before long periods of sitting.
And I imagine tea, broth, even water-rich fruits can help too.
Yes. In fact, in Japan, green tea is a favorite because it not only hydrates, but also contains catechins, compounds shown to improve blood vessel health. So hydration doesn't have to be boring.
You've covered movement and hydration. What about diet?
Food shapes blood. Leafy greens like spinach and kale provide vitamin K, which balances clotting. Omega-3s from fish like salmon thin the blood naturally, lowering risk. And foods rich in antioxidants, berries, citrus, tomatoes, protect the lining of blood vessels. It is not about one superfood. It is about balance, giving the blood what it needs to flow smoothly.
That's interesting, because many seniors hear vitamin K and worry it interferes with medications like warfarin.
It's true. It must be managed with a doctor's guidance, but consistency is the key. A steady intake of greens is safer than sudden highs and lows. The body loves rhythm, not extremes.
I like that word, rhythm. It makes health sound like music, not punishment.
Exactly. Another habit is posture. Crossing the legs for hours or slouching in a chair compresses blood flow. I encourage seniors to stand up every hour, stretch, and let gravity help them. Even walking to the kitchen and back resets circulation.
Simple. Stand, stretch, sip, repeat.
Yes, and one more, breathing. Deep diaphragmatic breathing lowers pressure in the chest, helping blood return to the heart. In Japan, we often combine calf pumping with slow breathing. The two together act like an engine. Muscles push, lungs pull, and blood moves.
That paints such a hopeful picture. None of these require money or gyms, just awareness and consistency.
Longevity is not built on extraordinary effort. It is built on ordinary habits done faithfully. Seniors who adopt these small rituals, moving calves, sipping water, eating balanced foods, standing often, breathing deeply, create a flow of life that resists clots.
So it's less about fighting disease and more about supporting the body's natural design.
Yes, the body wants to heal, it wants to flow. When you give it rhythm, it rewards you with vitality.
Dr. Hinohara, you've shared the daily habits that protect against clots. But let's give our listeners something to look forward to. If they start these habits tomorrow, what signs will they notice first that show their blood flow is improving?
That's an important question, Howard, because the body always rewards care. The first change many seniors notice is lighter legs. That heavy, dragging feeling at the end of the day begins to fade. Instead of swelling that makes shoes feel tight, they find their ankles stay closer to their morning size.
So less puffiness and less weight in the legs. That's encouraging.
Yes. The second sign is warmth. Cold toes and cold feet are often signals of sluggish circulation. When the calves and lungs start moving blood more efficiently, warmth returns. I've had patients tell me they stopped needing extra socks in bed once their blood began flowing better.
That's such a simple, almost overlooked marker. Warmth coming back to the feet.
Exactly. Another early sign is energy. Thick, stagnant blood makes every organ work harder. Once circulation improves, oxygen delivery to the brain increases. Seniors often report clearer mornings, less fog, and more energy to walk or garden. A 2020 study in the Journal of Vascular Medicine showed that seniors who improved circulation with light daily movement reported a 25% increase in daily vitality scores within just 4 weeks.
That's powerful, and it shows this isn't only about avoiding disaster. It's about feeling alive again.
Yes, and balance improves too. Many people don't realize that blood flow affects inner ear function and muscle stability. When oxygen reaches those systems reliably, seniors feel steadier on their feet. They notice fewer wobbles, more confidence climbing stairs, even less fear of falling.
So circulation really is connected to independence.
It is. Independence is built on confidence, and confidence comes when the body feels steady, warm, and clear. Even small shifts, like ankles that don't swell after a day of sitting, signal that healing has begun.
I like how you frame these as positive signs. Too often, seniors are told only what to fear. You're giving them victories to look out for.
That's the heart of it, Howard. Longevity is not about waiting for illness. It's about celebrating each small sign of life returning. The lighter step, the warmer foot, the clearer mind. These are proof that prevention works.
Beautifully said. And I think this prepares us for the next part of our conversation. We've covered what the warning signs look like and what the healing signs feel like. But the real challenge is making these habits last. How do seniors lock them into daily life so the benefits don't fade?
Yes, Howard, that is the secret. Turning small practices into lifelong rituals.
Dr. Hinohara, we've seen how these habits fight clots and even bring back energy and warmth. But here's the real challenge. Seniors try new routines and then drift back to old patterns. How do we lock these habits in so the benefits last?
Howard, the secret is weaving habits into moments that already exist. For example, calf pumps can be linked to daily rituals. Every time you sit down to watch the news, every time you finish a meal, do a few minutes of pumping. You don't need extra time. You attach the habit to something you already do.
So instead of creating a new routine, you anchor it to the old ones. That feels easier, more automatic.
Yes. The same with hydration. Don't just say, "I'll drink more water." Place a glass where you can see it, in the kitchen, by the TV chair, next to the bed. Visibility turns intention into action. A 2019 study from Aging and Health Research showed that seniors who kept water within reach throughout the day drank nearly 40 more without even realizing it.
That's clever. You're using the environment to help the body instead of relying only on memory.
Exactly. And food can be the same way. Build balance into meals you already enjoy. If you love fish, add salmon once or twice a week. If you eat salad, include leafy greens for vitamin K. It doesn't have to be exotic or restrictive. Consistency beats perfection.
I imagine posture and movement can also be built in this way.
Yes, set a small cue. Every time the phone rings or when the commercial break starts, stand and stretch. Even brushing your teeth can be paired with a few deep breaths. It's not about doing more. It's about doing wisely.
That's refreshing because so many seniors feel overwhelmed when doctors list a dozen things to add. You're saying, don't add, combine.
Yes, combine and repeat. The brain loves rhythm. Once these actions become rhythms, they require no discipline, only presence. In Japan, we call this shukan, habits that live inside daily life until they become who you are.
That's beautiful, and I think it lifts pressure. Seniors don't need to chase big transformations. They just need to design small rituals that repeat.
Exactly. And when families join in, sharing green tea, taking evening walks, preparing simple meals, habits become joy, not chores. Health is more sustainable when it is shared.
So the real prevention strategy is not about heroic effort, but about small, repeatable choices that slide into the day until they feel natural.
Yes, and that is the path to freedom. Because once habits lock in, seniors stop worrying about clots every day. They live, they move, they enjoy life, while the body quietly thanks them.
Dr. Hinohara, we've talked about the signals, the risks, and the habits. But let's zoom out. If a senior locks in these routines, not just for weeks, but for years, what's the bigger payoff?
Howard, the true reward is freedom. Freedom from fear. Freedom from dependence. Seniors who keep their blood flowing well are less likely to suffer sudden hospitalizations from clots. That means more birthdays at home, more dinners with family, more days spent walking rather than lying in bed.
So it's not only about adding years, it's about protecting the quality of those years.
Yes, the science is clear. A long-term study published in the British Medical Journal followed seniors with strong circulation habits, hydration, daily movement, balanced diet, and found their risk of serious clot events dropped by nearly 40% over 10 years. That's not just a statistic. That's thousands of people spared from wheelchairs, oxygen masks, or sudden decline.
That paints such a vivid picture. Most people don't imagine what they're avoiding. They just think about today's comfort.
Exactly. But prevention is invisible until it is tested. The senior who drinks water faithfully, who pumps their calves while reading, may never know the clot they avoided. But what they do know is this: they remain active, steady, and independent while their peers struggle.
And independence is priceless. I've seen patients who feared losing their mobility more than losing their wealth.
Yes, independence is dignity. When you can rise from your chair without swelling, when you can walk to the market without pain, when you can sleep without restless legs, that is dignity preserved. and it comes from small choices repeated over years.
I love that you bring this back to mindset. Too often, health advice sounds like restriction, but what you're offering is possibility, the chance to keep living fully.
Howard, longevity is not about avoiding death. It is about living so well that every extra year feels worth having. Seniors who keep their circulation alive feel sharper, warmer, and more connected to life. They worry less because they've built trust with their own body.
So the long-term payoff is not just physical, it's emotional.
Yes, peace of mind is as valuable as strong arteries. When a senior knows they are caring for their blood each day, they stop fearing sudden collapse. They walk with confidence, and confidence is the true mark of health.
Dr. Hinohara, before we close, I want to bring this back to something personal. For a senior listening right now, how can they know these habits are really shaping their future?
Howard, they will feel it in the small moments. They'll notice mornings come easier. Their shoes fit without struggle. They'll walk up the stairs with less hesitation. These are not miracles. They are proof that blood is flowing, that life is moving.
So the signs of success are hidden in ordinary days.
Yes, and those ordinary days are the treasure. When a grandmother can kneel to play with her grandchild, when a grandfather can join a family walk without fear of cramps, that is longevity alive. These small victories ripple outward, bringing joy not only to the senior, but to their family.
And in a way, they become role models. Their children and grandchildren see that health is not about luck, but about choice.
Exactly. In Japan, we call this ikigai, a reason for being. When seniors protect their health, they protect their role as teachers, storytellers, and anchors of the family. Preventing clots is not just about avoiding the hospital. It is about keeping the circle of life strong.
That's powerful. So what you're really saying is, by caring for circulation, seniors are not just adding years, they are adding meaning to those years.
Yes, Howard. Longevity is not measured only in time, but in presence. And presence begins with the flow of life in the blood.
Dr. Hinohara, you've given us a powerful map. How to spot the whispers of clots, how to turn simple habits into protection, how to live with freedom instead of fear. But I want to leave our listeners with something bigger.
Howard, here is the truth. Blood clots are not only about veins and arteries. They are about time. When blood flows, life flows. When blood stops, time stops. Every sip of water, every calf pump, every deep breath. It is not just preventing a clot. It is buying you moments you would otherwise lose.
And here's the part that lingers with me. If small choices can keep blood flowing, what else are they silently protecting? The brain? The heart? Even the spark that makes us feel alive?
Yes, the body never works in isolation. Protect circulation, and you may be protecting memory, mood, even the way you wake up tomorrow morning.
So the real question for everyone listening is this: what will you notice first when your blood begins to flow freely again? The lighter legs? The clearer mind? Or something unexpected? Something that reminds you that age has not yet written its final chapter?
That, Howard, is the mystery worth living into.